Welcome back to Life of Legacy. We're here with Coach Sharkey today, talking about the keys to her success, her experience as both a player and a coach, and just getting as many tips as we can from her on success and just a general approach to achieving goals in life. So, Coach, we've talked a lot today about we talked about your childhood, we've talked about your philosophies in coaching, and the Buffalo's program in general approach to teaching kids and helping them develop as players and just as overall people. So now I want to talk about you personally and your goals and what you want to achieve in life and what you've learned from your experience as a player and a coach is going to help you achieve your long-term objectives. So, right now you're an assistant coach. What do you want to do going forward? What is your roadmap?
I definitely want to be a head coach one day and run my own program and kind of see what I can do in that sense and impact more young people. And that's really what my goal is moving forward. And that'll be my next step. I mean, at Buffalo, I started as the bottom assistant, and now I'm the top assistant and the recruiting coordinator for the last few years. And we've done a good job. So I think that step should hopefully be coming soon.
Okay. Okay, great. So what else? What about off the court?
Off the court?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I really like what I'm doing right now, and I don't feel like I've worked a day yet. So I really just enjoy being around people and being able to talk to people and share the game with people and just I don't know. I ain't got much. I'm very simple. Very simple. I
Very
got my house,
simple.
I got my car. I'm good.
Simple PK.
Yeah, that's it.
So I know you mentioned, sometimes people doubting you in the past, but even as a coach, first of all, did you ever envision yourself being a coach? Like growing up, is that something you ever thought about doing? Or did you just kind of maybe drift into it? Is
I I always wanted to be a part of sports in some way. So like I wanted to be an athletic trainer, sports administration, something to do with sports. I never thought maybe that exactly coaching was what I wanted to do until Coach Jack took over the program. So I wasn't recruited by her to Buffalo. I was recruited by another coach who got fired 2 years in. And just the night and day of that made me want to, you know, get into this profession so that way I can be a better example and a better leader, kind of like how Coach Jack was for us. Because when our players come to us, they entrust us with 4 years of their life. And that's a really important stage of their life too, where a lot of growing, a lot of maturing happens. And I want to be that person that I didn't have at first when I first got to college. So that's kind of been my biggest thing for why I got into coaching, is that I want to be able to help mold and help grow young people and reach their limitless potential.
okay. So has anybody ever maybe discouraged you as a coach at all from your goals as a coach? I know you talked about maybe as a player you had people that doubted you. Has anyone ever doubted you since you've been coaching?
Um, Not really. I think myself
Really?
more than anything. Because I mean, at first it's something I didn't know anything about. I just kind of was done playing and was thrown into it. So I had a lot to learn really fast. Just kind of got thrown into the water and had to figure out how to swim. So if anybody doubted me, if anybody doubted, it was myself. And now I'm at the point where I don't really mess with what other people think, as long as at the end of the day I know I did what I need to do and to the best of my ability, and I poured out and got poured into, and that's all that I really focus on now.
Okay. So how did you deal with your own self-doubt?
Just by doing the work, really, just put my head down, doing the work. Probably working way too many hours the first few years, but um, just diving in and being completely where my feet are at all times. If I'm there to coach basketball, I'm going to be the best coach I can be at that moment. If I'm there to scout a team or recruit a player, I'm going to be the best scout and best recruiter where I am at that moment. So that was probably the biggest lesson for me with self-doubt and everything is just be where your feet are and be the best you can be in that moment. And then everything takes care of itself.
Okay. So it sounds like similar philosophy you had as a player. You just
Yeah.
put your head down and keep putting in the work, right?
Right.
So what is the biggest moment of adversity you faced, player or coach? Think back to, whether it was a specific moment in a game or a tournament or whatever it was. What was the biggest adversity you faced to date?
To date, well, I blew up my knee and I've had 5 knee surgeries since.
Oh,
So that definitely was the biggest adversity for me. So I tore my blew out my knee, tore my ACL, and all that whatever is in there. My sophomore year, and that was with the other coach. So I kind of was left on my own island. Like there were days where there would go weeks where a coach never even acknowledged that I was there. So I was really in a tough place because everything that you worked for, like that, gets taken from you, and you got to sit out a whole year. Since I was 5, I never could not play basketball for a whole year. Like that was crazy to me. So that was tough, and that's probably the biggest adversity that I had to face. But it was also that year where I knew that my value can come off the court as well. So just me going in practice and being the hardest worker at practice was how I created my value as a player early on. And then after that injury, I realized that my voice had value, that the way I spoke to people had value, the way I led had value. It wasn't necessarily me physically doing what needed to get done. It was me encouraging people around me, watching more film so I could be the best scout person for my team. Like there was one point during the year where they would call, like the team would come to me and have some timeouts and be like, Coach Sharkey, what do you see? And I'm like, guys, I'm your teammate. Stop saying that. So like just little things like that. And it's like that kind of like sparked my interest in getting to know the game more as more of like an eyes and a learner as just a player and a doer.
so what made you take that approach? Like, not everybody does that, right? Some people get injured and maybe kind of get caught up in their own stuff, and they're just down because they can't play. Like, where did you learn that mentality? Where did you get that from in terms of, you having a setback, you can't play, and now you're getting involved with the team in other ways? Is that just come naturally? Did you observe someone else do it? How did you get there? How did you learn that?
So my high school coach, she was instrumental in everything about me. She when I played in high school, she was coming off of just beating cancer. So we had to watch her like literally go behind the shed at field hockey practice and vomit during chemo.
Right.
So she was like a very big part of my life, and especially in that time, because speaking to her was like if she could go through that, I can get through a knee surgery. Like nothing, like I'm not gonna die from this. So like it was a big perspective. Like I'm very big on perspective person. Like that's why I like to tell my players too. Okay, like you might want that, but you have like 3 of these. Like think about that. Some people don't have that. So for me during that time, it was definitely just having the perspective that it's a knee injury I can come back from. I get another year to play. I can go to grad school year, and I just kind of talked my way through it with her and how to just stay motivated throughout the year. And she really helped me with that. And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Having good people around you, really.
Yeah, having good people around you, and also, I mean, seeing somebody deal with something like cancer definitely puts things in perspective for sure, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, anytime we go through adversity, if we're able to see other people that have handled things that are, equal or bigger than what we're
Mhm.
going through, it can be very inspiring for all of us, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So, in general, if I asked you what motivates you, what would your answer be?
General. Winning, like I just want to win. I don't know. In general, what motivates me is just being the best I can be and being happy, showing up for the people I love, and you know, putting my right foot in front of my left foot and making things happen. I think that's just what motivates me is being able to find ways to be successful and maybe not a situation where people are supposed to be. I'm a very, like, I can't just sit down on a Sunday and not do anything. So like let's do a Sunday. I'm like, yes, thank God I got something to do now Sunday, because I'm just a very go 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 kind of person. So I think just end results really they really push me, and setting goals. I set a lot of goals, small ones, big ones. That's really what motivates me.
Do you write them down?
Yeah, yep. I got a little journal, so kind of write that down and be like, okay, today what did I do that really didn't help me at all get to where I'm trying to go, or what did I do today that I should repeat tomorrow. I don't do it every day, but a few times a week, just to really reflect, because life goes really fast, and especially through being a coach and working in sports, like we have, you put 8 months into preparing for a season and you got 3 months to make it happen. So it goes super fast, and just being able to reflect along the way as opposed to reflecting at the end of things or when things don't go your way. I think that's just a way you can build and learn as the process goes on, because that's the hard part.
Process,
right?
Back to process.
Yeah.
About the process. We're talking about process, not practice, but
Right.
Practice is part of the process too. So, to go back to AI.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you seem to have done a really good job taking the things that made you a good player and then translating it over into other aspects of life. Not everybody is good at that. I've noticed some people that maybe have a lot of success in athletics, but then when their sports years and sports career is over, maybe don't apply the same things that made them successful in sports in other areas. So
Mm-hmm.
why do you think that is? Why do you think the keys to success in sports don't translate for a person into other areas of life?
I think it's the people that are leading them, and they're not teaching them that, this are so like literally a game of basketball has like every single element of a stressful life, right? So you got stress because you got to perform, you got to win, you got to figure out how you're going to do that, and there's going to be that little fear, that little doubt inside of you. Am I good enough? Am I enough? That type thing. And then you got your time constraint. I mean, in life, you're going to have deadlines. You got to pay your rent. You got to get your project done for work. You have all these things. You got to win in 40 minutes. You might have 30 seconds left. You got to make it happen. That kind of thing. And then you got the, what's the word? Uncertainty of things, right? So you don't know what the other team's going to bring to you. How are you going to respond to things that you're uncertain about? Same thing in work. Like you could go to work and somebody could be like, your boss could completely flip the switch, change your project, whatever you got to do. Like you are literally getting those lessons in a game of basketball. And if we're not teaching our young athletes and our young people that your sport and your ability is a tool that could take you further, then we're doing a disservice to these athletes, especially at the college level, because that's you're 1% of people are going pro.
Right.
And it's just facts. And if
Right.
we're not, as college coaches, instilling ways, like we're also teachers, in my opinion. Like we're teaching them how to be better people, how to put themselves in positions to be successful on the court, but we can also tell them that this is how they translate over into the real world as well. And then obviously in a game, you're going to get tired. In life, you're going to get tired. You're going to get tired of doing the same stuff over and over and over to finish at the end of the year a good fiscal year for your company. You're going to get tired. So how can you find ways to build yourself up through that process and be able to come out on top when everything seems just so same old?
Yeah.
So that's, being tired. Everybody gets tired. There's fatigue, and everyone hits a wall at some point. So yes, in a game, if you crumble and you fold instead of fight, then you might do that in real life. What are you going to do when, something, you're about to get evicted. You're just gonna like be evicted and live on the street? No, you're gonna fight. You're gonna figure out a way, hopefully, to survive. And you could use the game to teach those lessons as well. And that's why I think the biggest thing is the leadership, and who is in front of you is what helps bridge the gap between a great athlete who can translate to that maturity in that next level and not. So
Okay. Yeah, that's a strong point. And I think, like you said, if the coaches can do a better job of, hammering those points home about how those skills and how those qualities can be useful in life in general, then, there's so many millions of kids who are going to benefit, that even if they don't go on to play sports, at a higher level, everybody finishes a sports career at some point, and you have to go to a different stage of life. So that's the bigger opportunity there, is what can kids learn through sports that'll make them better in life in general and make them more successful and happier, right?
right. And then you could also, the same other way too, like if like for example, one of our kids, single mom, has to help her mom pay rent, stuff like that. Like you can take that fuel and use it in a basketball sense too. Like, okay, we're down 4, but you helped your mama pay like mortgage last month.
Wow,
Like
yeah.
you've already been through hard, and if you're gonna not be able to get through something that you say you love, like a game, then you're making it too big of an issue. Like complexity, right?
There
Complexity
you
is the
go.
enemy of execution. The more complex you make it, the more less fun it's going to be, and the harder it's going to be for you to complete what you set yourself out to do. I mean, that's the biggest thing too. And if you're a leader who understands the people that you're leading, and you get to know them, and you care and you serve, then I think that's when you get the best out of those players. And you can use it both ways.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. And, as a coach, and that's highlighting to me like why you're so successful at developing players, is the way you phrase things and make parallels. It's so simple, but yet it's so powerful at the same time. So does I saw you had your degree in psychology. Does that weigh in at all? Do you
That
think,
helps.
like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I thought maybe so, because I was like, okay, she has a degree in psychology, but I look at how you break things down and how
Mm-hmm.
you explain things, psychologically, to help people push through things. And, I can definitely see your interest in psychology kind of bleeding through there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
is there anything you think you might want to do in that world, possibly at some point in
Um,
life?
Not really. I mean, I definitely have thought about it, just because with the way like our world is going right now, I think there's a huge opportunity for sports psychology, especially in Division I programs and stuff. Like
Okay.
I have thought about that, like business wise, because I'm getting my MBA as well. Like how can I use the tool and the experience that I have already gotten through being a coach, and how I can kind of intertwine both. But I love coaching too much. So
Okay.
I love the games too much, and the camaraderie of the team and all that. But that's definitely something I've thought about for sure.
Gotcha. So what are you going to use the MBA for? Are you interested in owning a business?
I think that being a head coach, you basically are running your own small business,
Okay.
because you got your budget. So we have to figure out how to raise money. We have to figure out how we're gonna, feed our players on the road, the buses, the transportation. So you got the whole operations aspect. You got scholarships. We got to, make sure we have money for that. Recruiting budgets, your housing for the players, all that. So and then obviously you got to pay your people too. So I'm a head coach. I got to figure out like that part of my budget too, like who's worth this amount of much money and stuff like that, and assistance wise. But we basically run our own little $1 million company. So
Gotcha. Okay.
really what pushed me that way.
So if you had to, you mentioned several things like that were transferable from sports to real life. If you had to give me the top three keys to success, Coach Sharkey's top three keys
Mm-hmm.
to success, what would they be?
One, be where your feet are,
Be where
because
you
you got to live in the moment, or else you'll just start drowning by anything that's not necessarily right there. So obviously, like, have goals and do that, but be where your feet are and put your head down and do the work every day is a huge thing. I think that's a huge key that my head coach, Coach Jack, has taught me. Just be where your feet are and do the work, and things will happen for you. Two, serve others. Two is definitely serve others, because the way the universe works, in my opinion, is that the more you give out, the more you receive. And if you put good energy out, then that comes back to you 10 times. So that's another big thing we tell our players. Like, if you miss a shot, you better say good pass or good something to somebody else, because then it takes your mind off the negative aspect of it. So the more you serve and the more you give out to other people, the less you think about your shortcomings and what you just did wrong, and something bad that just happened to you. By building other people up, that kind of helps you balance yourself out as well. So definitely serving others. And three would be learning to fight instead of fold. I think there's a lot of times in life where things get super hard, and people are so quick to just folding and giving up and throwing their hand in. But we're all dealt a different hand of cards, and we all experience things differently, and we all don't know what other people are going through. So what we got to do is we got to just sit down and fight through it, and just keep plugging away and try to figure out what your next step is. But definitely figuring out how to fight for something instead of just being so easily folding.
Okay. I love it. So be where your feet are.
Yeah.
Serve. Learn to fight, not fold. Don't give up.
Yeah.
I'll take it. That's powerful stuff. So there's a few questions I ask everybody at the end of every interview. So I want to give you a chance to answer those as well. So you just gave me your keys to success.
Yeah.
So what is Coach Sharkey's idea of a meaningful life?
Knowing that the way I lived made somebody else's life just a little bit easier. Or the way that I led, or the way that I lived, or the way that I set an example for somebody else helped their life be a little bit easier, whether small, large, whatever. But I really believe that we're all on this earth together, and that we need to put other people before ourselves. And that's really when we shine, is when we start to give out to other people. And that's the biggest thing. Is definitely whatever footprint I leave on the earth, I want someone else's to be a little bit easier because of me.
I think you just answered both of my questions at the same time.
Boom, look at that.
You're too good. You're too good. My last question was, at the end of your days, what will Kristen Sharkey's life represent? And you're probably going to give me the same answer. You probably just answered it. If you did, just say that. But
Service.
I'm posing the question anything.
Yeah, definitely like service and being that light for somebody. Because I've definitely had a lot of people in my life that were lights during dark times, and that you just needed somebody just to say good job or good shot or whatever. Sometimes you just need that little bit of hope, and because everybody goes through life, and life is hard, and that's what I think that people need to realize, that we all experience life in different ways, and life can be really hard for some, and life can be easy for some, and something that's hard for me might be really easy for you. But you don't know that. People perceive things very differently. So at the end of the day, just being that little bit of light in somebody's day.
Simple but powerful, like everything else you said today. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much. I mean, you've shared like so much wisdom today, and I really appreciate your approach to life, your approach to developing players, and how you've been able to take what you've learned and what's made you successful and implant that into the athletes you're working with. I have so much respect for Buffalo's program and what I've learned from you today about your philosophy for developing athletes as whole people, even the way you recruit and how you look at, intangibles and the whole person when trying to figure out who fits into your program. You know, everything about you just screams giving and community and leaving a mark. And I think it's a great example for our listeners to think about how they can live a meaningful life and leave a legacy behind. So thank you for that. Thank you for your service and your work. And I know you're just getting started and you're going to do a lot more. So I'll probably have to invite you back a little while from now and kind of catch up on everything that you're doing and
Yeah, definitely.
and the mark that you're making. So thank you. I appreciate it.
John, thank you. Appreciate you. Literally. I mean, you don't understand. I use your stuff all the time. So that's any way you can leave that print on the world. That I think that's huge. So I'm happy to do this anytime and appreciate you reaching out and having me on.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been Life of Legacy, reminding you that at the end of the day, what your life means is what is up to you. What's your impact?